This is an All Ears English podcast, episode 1892. Why English inside jokes can build or break the connection.
Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection. With your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Colorado and New York City, USA. And to get your transcripts delivered by email every week, go to allearsenglish.com/subscribe. It's an inside joke, maybe a fun thing to say when you are in on the joke, but how does it make other people feel? On today's episode, Lindsay and Michelle dive deep into this topic so that you can decide if you want to use this expression in your English conversations.
Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Hey, Michelle, I'm doing great. How are you? What's going on today?
I'm good. Yeah, not too much. I am actually at a family member's house recording today, so
nice.
I'm outside of my usual territory, but I'm good.
Right. Spending time with the family, that's always fun.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, exactly. But so I have a question with you for you.
Okay.
Do you have inside jokes with people?
Oh, I do sometimes, but usually it's more situation based. You know, usually the jokes are like right after something happened. And then it kind of like if there was some weird event that happened. I can't think of any right now, but some weird event, someone did something silly. And then let's say we go to a party right after that. Maybe I'll make an inside joke about that thing that just happened between me and that other person. Right.
And then it could kind of live on if it was.
It could live on if it were funny enough.
Exactly. I mean, okay, but so let's take a step back. What is an inside joke?
That's a good question. So an inside joke is when that joke really is only relevant or makes any sense between an exclusive group, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, or 10 people. It's inside. It's not accessible to everyone as being funny.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's only kind of entertaining for those involved. And I mean, when do these come up? Like when might somebody hear an inside joke?
I mean, you hear this coming up a lot in groups, right? So someone might make a little joke and then they say, oh, it's an inside joke. And Michelle, when you hear that, how do you feel?
I really don't like it because, I mean, it's one thing. Okay, like if I'm talking to you and a new joke comes up, I might, and I say to you like, oh my gosh, like that's a good inside joke or something like that. It's going to be like our joke. Okay.
Right.
But if like, let's say we are having a conversation with Jessica and Aubrey and you and me, I went with you and Jessica to a game night or something. And we have this joke and then we say something like, we're talking about it. And then Aubrey's like, what is that? And we're like, oh yeah, no, it's an inside joke.
Right. That's kind of a way of excluding someone.
Yes. People say this all the time and it's like.
They do. Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what I think would be especially challenging is if you're meeting your partner's family for the first time and they're kind of like a jokey family. Like you said before on the podcast you shared with us that Dan's family is very jokey.
Yeah.
Do they do a lot of inside jokes around you? Or are you just involved in them now? So it's okay.
I think I've been like with these people, with this gang, for over 10 years. So I feel like I know, but there are still, of course, like things then from their childhood. So like I have like a certain amount of things, but there's never like no one ever is like, oh, that's an inside joke like that. I wouldn't be allowed to like, what the thing is with inside jokes, when somebody says it's an inside joke, it's also like kind of like, it almost like makes it feel like, oh, well, like that you can understand. Like you couldn't understand that joke.
You would never understand. It's
right. Like, okay, maybe it won't be as funny to you, but like, I don't know, like give a little background, just say like, oh yeah, no, this is like, oh my gosh, this is from like, a cruise we went on and there was this crazy like
right.
costume party, something.
Yeah, at least the person can kind of laugh and say, oh, I could see how that would be funny.
Exactly.
Give them a little context, right? Because especially in the business world, you don't want to make your colleagues feel excluded. So if you're at a happy hour or a company party and you're sitting there and someone enters your circle and you continue to tell that inside joke or you laugh, you need to say something. Give them a little context. Oh, last year's company party, this happened. That's why we're laughing about that. Pull them in a little bit, right, Michelle?
Right. Because, I think people who are involved in the inside joke, who are on the inside, they may feel it's innocent to say that. They might feel like have this feeling of, oh, it's not worth explaining because somebody else wouldn't find it funny. But again, or they wouldn't understand. But again, I think if you're going to laugh about it and and kind of make a joke to somebody about it and then just say, oh, no, it's an inside joke. I don't know. I find it's funny because sometimes, on All Ears English, we talk so much about things you should say, but we also talk about things you shouldn't say. And it's not that you shouldn't say this. It's just that you want to know kind of what goes into it. And I think it's an important topic because it's huge for connection. Yeah,
this is something we want to avoid if our primary goal, which it is on All Ears English, guys, is connection, not perfection. This is a way to immediately kind of cut off that connection. And you want to make people feel confident and make it feel like you are approachable. That's the other thing, right? If you do this too much, people aren't actually going to walk up to you at parties or approach you because they don't want to hear this. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, Lindsay, do you ever say, now that I'm saying how terrible it is, be honest. So sometimes people might say it's an inside joke or they might say, sorry, inside joke.
Sorry, inside joke. No, to be honest, I don't do this that much.
I don't think
I don't because I do. I think a lot about how people feel.
Yeah.
Actually, and I think you do too, Michelle. Yeah. And especially in a socializing event, I don't want people to walk up to me and feel like they have to walk away if I'm telling that joke, right? Yeah.
Right. I feel like it's used, I say it's used a lot by teenagers, but I actually have no idea because I'm not a teenager anymore and teenagers say such different things. But when I was a teenager, I feel like that was a big thing.
That was probably a thing.
Inside joke.
Inside joke. Yeah, for sure. So what else do our listeners need to know here?
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just quickly give another example of how it would sound.
Okay.
So
all right. So wait, why are you laughing?
Oh, nothing. Sorry, Lindsay. Inside joke.
I'm not laughing. I didn't enjoy that interaction, right?
Right. Or if I said to you oh, we have this joke. It's an inside joke. I can tell you later.
Okay. Well, that's a little better.
That's at least, better.
You're giving a little context and you're saying, I'll let you know what it's about later. So that is kind of a bit more of a symbol of respect, a signal of respect.
Exactly. It's okay, maybe we're in the middle of I'm imagining, let's say, the four of us, me, Lindsay. Yeah. Me, you are Lindsay. I
am Lindsay.
Let's say we went to a show together. Yeah. And there's a part that's not funny of the show. It's not meant to be funny, but you and I just start cracking up because it reminds us of something. And then Jessica's what is it? And then it wouldn't be right now, it wouldn't be a good time for me to share that with her. It's in the middle of a show.
Right. For sure.
If I say, I'll tell you later.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's better than just saying, oh, inside joke. Right. So good stuff.
Right.
Now, what is this acronym all about? This IYKYK. I've never seen this before. Do our listeners need to know this?
Okay, so you might see this from time to time, and I'm hoping that I got this right. But I see this a lot on social media. Somebody maybe in an Instagram story or something like that. It stands for if you know, you know.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of, my understanding is it's kind of a similar idea to an inside joke, but it might not be about a joke. It might just be something saying, if you identify with this or you're in on it, I think it's mostly written. So for example, somebody might post a picture of an amazing bagel from their town.
Right.
And they just might, or IYKYK. And it's if you know, you know. So it's a little bit different, but it's kind of a unique spin on inside joke.
Right.
But not everybody would know about it. So it can make somebody feel a little bit funny, potentially.
Yeah. I think this one's not quite as nefarious.
No.
This is kind of more about best kept secrets, right? This concept. Like over the weekend, we went to, well, I'm not going to say the name of the town actually, because I want to keep it a secret. We went to a little town in southwestern Colorado that we love to go to because it is getting out of, the typical Breckenridge Vale, yuppie Colorado scene. And it's a much more low key scene, but there's still a lot of outdoorsy people there. There's a lot of good beer, good drinks, good food, beautiful views, but the traffic is just there's no traffic getting there. So no one knows. So it's like if you know, you know, but I'm not going to necessarily tell everyone to go there.
Right. No, that's a perfect example. Example.
Yep. Okay. So Michelle, let's talk a little bit more for our listeners. If our goal on All Ears English is to become more inclusive and bring people in and connect, should we worry about this exclusive language, using this exclusivity in our language?
I personally think it's not nice.
Yeah.
Unless you're using, but that's not to say that you can't use it in a beneficial way. Like that example where I said, "Oh, it's an inside joke. I'll tell you later." Yeah. But just this feeling of oh, it's an inside joke, or just inside joke. You might hear that, and to me, I don't know. Would you ask someone what it is?
No, I think at that point, if someone says that to me, oh, it's an inside joke. No, I want to walk away, to be honest. I don't want to try.
It doesn't feel nice.
No,
it's all right, fine. Nice. I didn't care anyway.
Right. And you just don't. And it's kind of their thing. It's kind of private. I wouldn't try. I wasn't there. Yeah. I think when it comes down to being exclusive in your language, it depends on the intention, your intention when you're saying it.
Right.
And what your intention is. Are you trying to make someone feel like they're an outsider, like they don't belong in your little group of conversation, or are you just trying to save their time and you assume that they don't want to bother with it? And, if you have that air or give them a little context, that's okay.
Right. Just a little taste of what it is.
A taste. Yeah.
I think no matter what your intention is, I think that if you say, oh, nothing, it's an inside joke, I think it sounds, unless you're saying I'll tell you later. So I think that's my personal thought about it. But I think if you give a little taste of the joke, oh no, it's just this inside joke from when we were on a trip, and
give a little taste. I love that.
It doesn't seem because I think that sometimes when people say it, it makes them sound very proud of themselves.
Right.
Well, we have an inside joke.
I think this episode really goes back to, I feel like there's very few people who actually enjoyed middle school. You know?
Yeah. Right.
And it goes back to being somewhat always kind of feeling like an outsider in middle school. I think we all felt that way,
right?
Because there were the cool kids, and we all felt a little excluded at times. So it kind of comes back to that. That can come back as adults to haunt us, right?
Right. No, it's so true. Now you're getting a taste of how I felt. No, it's just no, but okay. So but here's a different question. Let's take this in a different direction.
Okay.
As trying to connect with people, should we try to find inside jokes with them?
So I think yes. I think it's good. I think we could do another episode for our listeners, Michelle, on how to find that inside joke and how to actually build a joke out of an event. That would be actually a really cool episode to design. Guys, if you love that idea, then go ahead and hit follow on this podcast right now so that you don't miss it. We're going to design that episode. So I think there's no harm in it. It's just a matter of, do you cut other people out of that conversation? That's another story, what we're talking about today. But creating a joke builds connection. Yes.
Right. Exactly. I think, they can be very useful for connection. If you aren't in on it, you can. Lindsay, you said you feel like you want to walk away. You could always say oh, I don't get it, or
change the subject. Yeah.
Right. Or you could say oh no, well, what? If it depends how you feel. If you really feel shut out, then just whatever. But you could always be oh no, what's the story? I want to hear. If you feel comfortable.
Yeah, it could. You could also say, I'm not in on the joke. I love this use of grammar here for our listeners, Michelle. I'm not in on the joke, right? Just saying you don't get it. You're not in on it.
Right. To be in on the joke. Exactly. Yeah, that's really good. So, Lindsay, what's the takeaway for today? We really delved into this expression, an inside joke, and all that it means. What do you want to add?
I think it just matters the way we make people feel. And that's what connection is. What's the point in knowing every word in the English vocabulary and every grammar point if we don't make people feel good around us? Right?
Right.
So guys, just always be aware of how you're making other people feel and try to give them a little context. It can be a matter of a tiny gesture, the littlest thing you do to give them a tiny bit of context to make them feel included and make them feel like more confident around you.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you can actually use that, in a way, if you use it and you give a little bit of that context, it can actually build the connection. Yes. So you can either open a door or you can close a door with this expression.
Love it. Love it. That is such a good way to put it, Michelle. Let's finish the episode on that idea, and I'll see you back here very soon.
All right. Have a good one, Lindsay.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.